Steve and Alan's pro tips in a short time. Learn a lot.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Alan, how's your summer going?
It's going great. So far, it's been a great mix of, downtime, travel time, work time. It's been good. Half over. Thought it'd be good for us to check in with each other. How about you? How are you feeling about your summer?
It's the usual. Lots of community band concerts, preparing for that, and a whole lot of sitting at my computer and arranging music. So it's kind of a good time of year to be an introvert. A lot of the work that I'm doing is by myself. And also, it's kind of recharging my batteries and sort of making me miss being with people and with my students. But I'm getting a chance to catch up on some reading and some concepts that I've been neglecting for the last year or so. I have a new theory. Do you want to hear what it is?
I want to hear what it is. And also, if you want to share what your reading and concepts are. But yeah, theory, go.
Well, do you know what the concept of dad books is?
Nope, never heard of it.
Okay, so dad books refers to books that dads like to read. And this was a concept for many decades, and probably the most popular form of this was World War II books.
That's what I
So,
was thinking. Yep.
yeah, so this idea in the 1980s, 1990s that all the dads like to read books about World War II. And I heard a story on Marketplace about this probably a couple months ago. And no surprise, dad books are taking a hit because they're being replaced by dad podcasts and things like that. And so this whole genre of books is kind of vanishing. And my theory is that the new dad books is becoming obsessed with artificial intelligence. I think that learning about
Mm.
AI and using AI, that's the new dad book thing. Because what I have noticed is most of the men in my life, especially when we're talking late 40s, 50s, 60s, I include my father who's in his early 70s in this, they all seem either moderately intrigued to very intrigued with this. And the women, not so much. What are you seeing?
I am seeing people like use it apologetically, like offer a disclaimer to like say, "Yep, I'm using it, and here's what it gave me," instead of using it and then like doctoring it for yourself. But I'm not seeing a gender age difference, except I don't see young people as into it as older people. That's the only thing difference that I see. But um, I've gotten a lot of work done today because I've used AI. Kind of like what we talked about in our AI episode.
Which
What I
that's
did,
probably gotten the most response from listeners of any episode
yeah,
that we've done
yeah,
recently. Yeah.
yeah, we've heard that. But yeah, people are talking about it. People are using it. I'm not seeing as many people saying, "I'm not touching that stuff."
Don't you think part of the reason people apologize in advance for it is, at least for right now, they want to acknowledge that they're using it? They want to make it clear they're not trying to pass all of this off as their own work. So I don't even know if I'm hearing that apologetically as much as, hey, just disclaimer. Yeah, I did use AI
Yeah.
for this because I think there is still some judgment about it. I'll be very honest. My daughter the other day said, so does Alan know that it's super obvious AI writes all of the descriptions for your podcast episodes? And that's
Yeah.
like to your point about young people.
Yeah.
I think young
Yeah.
people view it not with disdain, but they're very, very
Yeah.
suspicious of it. And since they are the people whose jobs are most likely to be eliminated or changed drastically because of it, I don't blame them.
Yeah. No, I don't either. And to your daughter's point, yeah, I kind of feel like when it comes to that very specific thing, podcast descriptions, it feels like every single podcast description you read now right now is obviously written by AI,
Yep.
and it's just become a norm. And we give it at least I think we give it a pass because it's like, well, yeah, that is the last thing that we need to see people spend a bunch of time on. But the other thing that you're reminding me of, if I could change course for just a moment, a couple of things I've noticed this summer. One of them, and this is based on the work I've done with a few hundred youth this summer. I'm sort of in the middle of working with about 1,000 young people over the course of the summer. A greater quest for authenticity or desire or need for authenticity and less gimmicks, fewer gimmicks than ever before. I heard one adult say, an adult who's really smart about young people, say back in April, the teenagers right now, the youth right now, are the ones who are going to kill meme culture because they're not putting up with hiding behind cute little pictures and phrases. And what I have noticed is just a very let's keep it real vibe in the youth workshops that I've done. And I've seen that accompanied by an uptick in some like resiliency.
That would be a welcome change, the resiliency. I think that's probably one of the things we hear teachers, listeners complain the most about. It isn't even, oh, they can't count to save their lives, or they can't, the reading has gone down, reading comprehension and ability to read music has gone down. I think the resiliency is the biggest complaint.
Yeah, let's watch this over the next 5 years because I've been surprised to see it and I can't quantify it, but I've picked up on, I don't know, greater endurance when doing some activities that require some brain work. I'm attributing it a bit to the if they want authenticity, they need to be authentic themselves. And so I think there's a little bit of that. And I also think it's because so many places have banned phones. And like there's like this waking up of like, yeah, got to use the brain more. And as you pointed out with your daughter, they are not relying on AI for much because that may be some of their homework. But when it comes to more of the stuff that's like real, I'm making air quotes, they're not. They're keeping it real.
Yeah. And some good news recently, I think, at least for that generation. Are you seeing where the CEOs are discovering that AI in many instances is either more expensive or less effective than human workers? Or it might be the same, but there isn't any sort of improvement in the product. So I feel like that seems not only promising for people in their early 20s who would like careers that the robots don't take, but it's also promising for people like Alan and Steve who are basically in the business of trying to help people get better at doing their jobs.
Yeah, agreed. I think we read that same article about how it's not necessarily a money saver. And there's now a bit more attention being placed on the future. I don't know if it was the same article or a similar one that pointed out that, yeah, AI can do some entry level jobs that companies aren't filling. But what they're quickly realizing, I mean, quickly, like within a year or two, is, oh, those entry level jobs prepped people for the next level. We're kind of screwed for the next level job if we don't actually have those entry level jobs. So,
Yes, and this is kind of an extension of what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, where AI can't play your trumpet, that it's a great tool, but it really can't do stuff for you, even though it makes it sort of seem like it can. And so I'm sort of like late to the dad book game in this regard, where I had a bunch of friends who were obsessed with AI or using it or learning about it. And I finally this summer am really kind of taking a deep dive. And so this week I asked Claude to help me rebalance my stock portfolio. And it was really scary what it could do. Like I entered in all of these different mutual funds and basically asked, so what percentage overall has exposure to semiconductors, exposure to artificial intelligence, and so forth? And it was really excellent at that. It was better than any tool that I had on the Fidelity website to figure those same things out. But here's the problem. It also got a lot of stuff wrong. And when I called it out on getting it wrong, it admitted it. But what continues to worry me is that it was a great tool for me. It saved me a ton of time. I'm very confident in the final result. But along the way, I had to point out some errors it made, and I had to ask it some follow-up questions. And so its initial suggestion when I said, here's my current portfolio, I would like to reduce AI and semiconductor exposure a little bit and maybe increase some defensive holdings. What do you suggest? And it spit something out. And then over the course of probably 3 days on and off, I kept going back and forth with it. And the final result that it came up with was vastly different. And I'm worried about people who would say, hey, AI, just tell me what to do. And I am grateful that at least it appears, your and my daughter's generation, they don't seem to have any interest in using it for that purpose.
no, I think you're right about that. I observed that too. What did you notice about the way your brain worked while you went through that process? Did it wake something up in it?
So I just got done editing the episode that we are going to release a week from now with Dr. Julie Ressler. And in there, you made some kind of point about having a friend or someone to talk with, and that ideally that friend would mostly listen. Or you, if you were going to be that friend to someone, you mostly listen, resist the temptation to fix everything, and maybe just ask one or two really excellent questions every so often to get them thinking. And that is kind of what I feel that Claude was doing for me, but I kind of still had to ask it to do that. And so even when it said, "All right, so do you feel good about this?" I said, "All right, what else might I not be considering?" And then it gave me like four more things. And I'm thinking, why
Why
didn't
didn't
you
you?
offer that in the first place?
Yes,
But again, I
yeah,
had to ask for it. So
yeah,
yeah, it was making me a better thinker, especially as I kind of learned how to interact with it a little bit more. But back to what you were saying about the entry level workers and it's not training the next level of workers, I can see all of that. Like, and again, it's the confidence that AI seems to have with, yeah, you should do this. Then I say, but what about that? And it says, that's a great point. You should do this instead. Um,
yeah.
and then this all comes back to music ed and that, you know what? It's not going to be playing anyone's trumpet. And it sure as hell isn't going to be teaching anyone how to play the trumpet anytime
Right.
soon either.
Yeah. Yeah, at least at least not accurately.
Yeah, not well. It'll claim it can. It'll do it, but yeah, it won't be good.
Place your sixth pinky on the thumb rest.
Yeah, I could just imagine the diagrams.
Started that. Yeah. Hey, I've seen something else this summer. You know, I'm a big advocate of like be specific and ask for what you want.
Yep.
And maybe you've heard me say once in a while, like in other settings, probably not on the podcast, but if you want good customer service, be a good customer. And I saw during my travels in June, we went to a couple places, and in diverse places, I saw a theme of businesses and entities and employees like training people on how to be a better customer. I saw a passenger on a plane get mad about a rule that was being applied inconsistently. And just in case somebody's distracted by wondering what that rule is, you cannot use the airplane's outlet to power a CPAP machine. You need your own power supply for it. So this rule had been inconsistently applied in this guy's travel experience. It was really giving the flight attendant a hard time. And at one point, the flight attendant said, "Now, I'm just doing my job, and I understand that other people have done it differently, but man, you can't cuss me out. All right. Please don't cuss me out. I don't deserve that in this situation. I understand you've been treated unfairly, but you got to be nice to me, man." And he was like, the approach was like really good. And I saw some intelligent signage in some other places about being kind to the employees here so that they can be good to you. And I saw an uptick in people asking for that and people responding to it. And so what I hope I am seeing is sort of a post-divisive unity push where people are like, okay, yep, we've been all talking about how things are divisive and things have gotten coarser and point the finger at the other person. Let's point the fingers at ourselves and work together and ask for a bit more from each other moment to moment. So I just felt like I saw several different examples of that in different places. It felt like a pattern. And I like it. I like it. If I'm really truly seeing it, I like it.
Yeah, that would be a nice trend. I wonder how much of that is just the further we get away from the pandemic and how many things were sort of divisive about that, that
Mhm.
we are just gradually getting less less inclined to just jump straight to a this person is a moron or this person has a complete opposite worldview of me and it's completely evil.
Yeah, maybe that's it. It could be a renorming when we had those like very different approaches to how to handle things in 2021 and 2022, and we're starting to bounce back from that and reestablish the norms.
How much of it, too, do you think is just a general awareness that we are becoming, it's becoming clear, I should say, that there are a lot of companies and individuals who are making great profits by making us hate one another or making us argue with one another. And I think for a long time that was happening, and the masses weren't aware that that was what was happening. And now people are clearly aware of it. And it's almost like, all right, you know what? I kind of feel like I maybe want to dislike my neighbor who has a yard sign for not my candidate, but that's what they want me to do. They want me to not like my neighbor. So you know what? I'm going to like my neighbor.
The new form of rebellion is rejecting rebellion.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, all right, Steve, I need to take the transcript that I've recorded of this episode and put it into ChatGPT and ask it to come up with a title and description. But this time, after it does, I'm going to say, Vivian Shanley is going to think this is generated by AI. Do better. And
Can you
I'll
make it less sloppy, please?
Yes, that's what I'll do.
What did you say last week? You said, "Hey, please don't use the word honestly." And what did it reply with?
Candidly.
Yeah.
No synonyms. I don't know. It was something like that. No, knock it off. Understood, Alan.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing the description that it comes up with after your multiple revisions. But please don't spend too much time on it.
Oh, you know I won't. We'll see you later, Steve.
Later.
Steve and Alan's pro tips in a short time. Learn all.